To talk about race, I think it's only fair we talk about the system in place and the boundaries it creates, because regardless of faith, religion or belief, we're all just people, right? Paper people. Like Harry Baker said, paper people play in paper politics because it's an obvious anomaly when the mass are kept in poverty, controlled by the wealth of a select committee of people, probably more concerned with their property gaining value properly. It's honestly appalling. In 2016, I'm surrounded by separation, people promoting patriotism instead of integration. Black and British culture kind of collided, so to group people simply for being black ain't very open-minded. It's like times have changed, but stereotypes stay the same. There's evidence of Romanised North Africans living in Britain in Roman times, so there's no question of the beginning of black people living in Britain. It's happened over time, like a goal in the 93rd minute with Catherine of Aragon. Black men came as servants, among them John Blank. Seen in the payment accounts of Henry VIII, John wasn't a slave, he was paid. A professional royal musician, and this makes me question, when and who started making divides based on arbitrary lines on a colour chart of black to white? I mean, can you imagine zebras trying to fight over race? No, because it's only us humans that have these stupid concepts in place. And how do I, as a white man, speak about black British history? Well, my best friend's black, so I'm going to tell his family story because historically, our British heritage is the same. One generation apartheid, our parents were on the same marches. T's grandparents came over from Jamaica in the 50s. They were told the British streets were paved with gold. But the only word ending OLD to describe Britain begins with C. It's cold. These streets weren't paved with gold. They were lined with rocks and chains in the hand of the bastard skinhead, trying to drive the black folk insane, ready to terrorise, abuse, threaten and attack anyone simply for your skin colour being black. And at the time, black people were a minority. So they didn't just have to fight thugs, also the authority. But by the time T's mum was born in 65, a bit had changed. T's granddad had a garage, a business. Black people were gaining presents in Britain like Christmas. There was still struggle with the Fed's stolen authority, but there was also a nice man called Rodney, who'd come down Winchester Road in a blue van, and suddenly you could buy West Indian produce in Edmonton. Fair play, there was still no sun, but at least T's mum could get a Jamaican bun. Now, Silver Street's minority is white, and 4 streets worth of shops are filled with Caribbean delights. But it wasn't that easy, from Rodney's van to T being all over TV. Because what about Donald Hall and his mother and brothers? 12 Fed officers harassed them, battered them nearly to death in their own home, and imagine being T's mum and hearing this as the only black girl in school. I'm just thankful she's forgiving, so a white man like me is allowed in her house at all. I don't know where all this hatred started. Maybe it was jealousy of melanin, or maybe it was when, yes, whites not brown started terrorism. Now, T's nephew is fully Jamaican, but apparently he might suffer at school from blacks and whites because my man looks mixed race, and this makes me question. Isn't mixing heritage something that we should be celebrating? We need to stop grouping ourselves based on one common fact, the colour of our skin. That's as stupid as people all picking sides based on the colour of our eyes. We need to recognise we're all the same and start to integrate that fashion in change. Changing the way we consider people differently based on race initially. We need to start mixing with everyone regardless. Because it's the money powers controlling the globe that need us separate, fighting against ourselves so we don't realise they're the true evil. It's not black versus white, rich versus poor. It's just us against them, the majority against the 0.1%. We need to stop arguing over his race and you man's race. Because truthfully, we're all the human race. And if we want to end racism, we've got to forget racism. All come together as people. It really doesn't matter. We're all flipping equal.